The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Exist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.
And welcome into the Exist Stretch Studios. Welcome into the show. It's the Real Monica Adams Show, waking you up to some positivity this morning after Memorial Day. We are brought to you by our friends over at Exist Stretch. And I know I ran into a bunch of you that took advantage of that deal, which I love. If you didn't, I'm sure they'll have some other wonderful specials coming up. Get into Exist Stretch, whether it's the Arnold or the St. Louis Hills location, and let it change your life. We'll be visiting with Trisha Rhodes tomorrow as we continue to talk about the benefits. And again, as I mentioned, I've been in a couple of times and my schedule got busy, and I can absolutely tell. So I was doing a bunch of housework, as many of you probably did over the weekend, and I felt it in my low back all over again. And I thought, yep, Monica, you need to get in to see Trisha. So she was testing my adductors there as well as my abductors, and then seeing how the hip flexors are. So if you feel any tension, or maybe you had some trauma from an accident or an injury from playing sports, or you just want to get better with your golf game, there's so many reasons why you should get in. Exist Stretch, thank you so much for being a part of the Real Monica Adams Show. Well, welcome in. I feel like I want to say happy Monday, but it's Tuesday. It's always like you're a little bit off after a holiday, right? We had a gorgeous day yesterday, and really this past weekend wasn't bad at all. Hopefully you had a chance to get out and enjoy it, but remember the reason for it. That was the thing. People were talking about getting together with their families, getting together with their friends, but never forgetting why we have the day off after all. It is because of our veterans, and we have a story about one particular gentleman from Pearl Harbor. He, in fact, is the oldest Pearl Harbor survivor that is keeping the memory of the surprise bombing alive at 106 years old. Among the dwindling number of Pearl Harbor survivors is Freeman Johnson, who is considered the oldest among them. Johnson of Centerville, Massachusetts, turned 106 recently, never witnessing the surprise attack. He never heard his shipmates firing anti-aircraft guns at the attacking planes, shooting down a torpedo plane. By the time he was topside, the St. Louis, a light cruiser, had evaded the submarines and safely set out to sea. As the St. Louis headed into the Pacific Ocean, Johnson, whose job was known as a fireman on the ship, knew little about the attack, and he recently sat down and was talking about it. One of only 11 survivors. He became the oldest of the World War II Navy veteran, and he was 105. Again, there were so many people that he talked about serving with at the time and witnessing history, telling the story of Pearl Harbor. So, folks, if you get an opportunity to sit down and talk to anyone that served, listen to their stories. And many times, just listen. That's what they're looking for. So thank you to all that served or are serving. Thank you for our freedom. So what did you do over the weekend? What did you do for holiday weekend? Maybe you had a chance to go to the Missouri Botanical Gardens like we did. Yesterday, it was a packed day, and the pictures are just always so stunning. And I laughed. I told Jim there were people that were out there that were taking pictures with actual cameras. And I was like, yeah, here we are all pulling out our cell phones. But I just can't imagine the pictures that they take because they are just absolutely stunning. Look at those flowers, the colors of them. Jim said his favorite is the Climatron. You tell me, what's your favorite when you go to the botanical garden? We had a chance to walk around for a few hours, and then Jim got a little hungry. We were going to eat there at the cafe that they have there. Haven't had a chance to eat there in a long time, but that's what we did yesterday. Maybe some of you went to the Greek festival. I always go to the one in the city, and I always forget that Memorial Weekend is when they have the one in the county. So this is the Greek festival in the town and country area that maybe you all had a chance to go to. Phenomenal food, of course, as always. Generations working, dancing, baking, you name it. They were all out there. Greek Fest took place all weekend. So if you didn't get a chance to go, maybe Saturday, Sunday, hopefully you had a chance to go yesterday. If not, and you like Greek food, you'll get an opportunity to go to the one in the city, which is over Labor Day weekend. Okay, we are in St. Louis, Missouri, and I like to take care of our friends here, even though there are people in cities and states and other countries that watch us as well, either live or a bit later on. But I always want to make sure I thank my roots and give you a heads up about something that's going to be taking place this morning at 11 a.m. If you live out in the St. Peters area, they are planning an overnight closure for Spencer and Mexico Road, closing the southbound outer outer lanes of Spencer and the westbound outer lane of Mexico at 8 o'clock tonight. Drivers heading southbound will not be a turn right onto westbound Mexico. Crews will open the lanes by 6 a.m. Thursday. Access to nearby businesses will remain open during work hours. That's the good news. It is a water main valve repair that they're doing. The city advised the drivers to use caution while driving through that work area. Construction work, of course, is weather dependent. So what is the weather going to look like? That's what we want to know. Yesterday, as I mentioned, was beautiful. So here's what we can expect for the rest of the week. 82. And because I said weather dependent, this is the reason why. Because we're looking at a 30% chance of rain and storms. 82 today, 83 tomorrow. So maybe it won't be out in the St. Charles County area and they'll be able to actually get that work done. Thursday, beautiful, 84. Friday, 80. Saturday, 81. Sunday, 80. And then it's already June 1st. Can you believe it? Monday, 81 degrees. In fact, once we get back Wednesday, no rain in the forecast. Now, of course, that could change, but as of right now, no rain in the forecast for the next 7 to 10 days. 82 next Tuesday and sunshine galore. 84 on Wednesday, and then Thursday is 87. Again, folks, we are not officially into summer yet, but those are definitely summer-like conditions. In fact, I was mentioning what you did over the weekend. Maybe you went to a pool because it was the unofficial start of summer, so a lot of the area pools are now open. I have not gotten in one of the driverless cars, and I don't know that I would. Again, you say never, but how about a driverless semi-truck? Okay, seriously. I think a lot of my audience said no way, but here's where you can expect to see them. Driverless trucks are already in some parts of the country. The autonomous routes are beginning to expand. For example, tech partners Volvo and Aurora announced they are expanding their driverless semi-trucks from Dallas to Oklahoma City. Local drivers worry about sharing the road with these vehicles, so it's going to take a little get used to. Semi-trucks expected to be on the routes from Dallas to Oklahoma City beginning in just a handful of days, beginning in June, actually. So I'll let you weigh in again. You want to get inside of a driverless truck or a driverless car or a driverless cab? My answer is still no. All right, I love this. SSM Health unveiling plans for maternal and newborn care center at Cardinal Glennon, expected to open in late 2027, providing integrated care for high-risk pregnancies, labor and delivery, and neonatal intensive care under one roof. And the goal is to reduce the separation that often occurs when mothers or newborns require specialized treatment after birth. And I can't believe we're still talking about what are we going to do with the Rams settlement money, right? This has been going on for so many years. Well, now St. Louis City leaders are asking for your comment on the settlement funding plan. Board Bill 22 is directing that $230 million from the Rams settlement fund to be allocated to new special funds for various parts of the city. Today, the first public hearing will be held at City Hall for a bill directing where Rams settlement funding will go in the city of St. Louis. Residents can attend in person or via Zoom. Today is the first day residents can speak directly to city leaders about this bill, and that public hearing, by the way, will start at 11 o'clock at City Hall. All right, we're going to be talking today about our seniors and memory care and dementia. Well, I love this story about our seniors. Imagine finding love directly across the street from where you live. The two of them, aren't they beautiful? In fact, many in the neighborhood say that they're acting like they're teenagers in love. They live directly across the street. He regularly would walk his walker and she would come outside and she's like, "You're going to wear that pavement down." And he's like, "I'm trying to make it smooth." And then there was a lady that's actually the daughter of one of them that said, "Are these two dating?" And she was like, "What? Why would you say that?" And she said, "Because we caught them kissing behind a bush." That was my favorite part of the video that I watched. I want you all to actually see this story, so I'm going to grab this and put it into the comment section for you. These two widowed neighbors are in California and now deeply in love. Who thought, right? You can see so much of life together or solo. And one of the things that woman said was, why sit around and just be alone when you can have friendships, or like them, they can develop love right across the street. One of my favorite stories for sure of the day. Okay, and now the other aspect is that I love my fashion. So the 90s, do you want that to return? Well, if you don't, sorry, but the 7 style staples that are trending according to fashion experts include slinky slip dresses, modern mules, Structured blazers, that I love. I also love this, and my husband will as well. He loves a pencil skirt, a really good pencil skirt. Refined tank tops, structured shoulder bags, and classic tees also coming back. I will also, just like I did with the story, look in the comment section and later after the show's done, get a chance to look at both of these stories. The one about the seniors falling in love and the one about the 90s style coming back. So let me know, weigh in. Did you like the 90s and are you happy that it's making a comeback? Of course, with its own spin on it. In sports, the St. Louis Cardinals, they lost to Milwaukee 5-1 yesterday. It's the Cardinals and Brewers with the first pitch today at 6:40. And our National Day of calendar, only a couple of things. National Paper Airplane Day. It's also National Blueberry Cheesecake Day, but a reminder of ongoing National Month as we almost wrap up May, National Mental Health Awareness Month. And we're very big on trying to find some inspiration and hope for you and positivity. Get Caught Reading Month, whatever you want to open up. A good habit to get into is reading 10 pages of a book every single day. And maybe it's the Bible. Maybe you do that. I opened up the Bible on Sunday, was reading some scriptures and just felt really alive. And then I love this one because of what we're talking about today. It is Older Americans Month. And I mentioned we're going to discuss dementia. Maybe you know someone, maybe it is one of your loved ones that is going through that. So how, as a caregiver, are you able to take care of them, take care of yourself? There's a Best Friends program that I'm going to talk about with you today with our friends from Garden View Care Centers. And then we also have a part 2. I love dogs, and I believe we've got a little puppy coming in. Canine Innovations. They're going to come in and they're going to talk about, I need this, by the way, for all of our dogs that are getting out, running around. They come back in, they're bringing all that stuff from nature back in, and they start itching. Is it actually from the elements, or is it their gut health or their immune support that they need? We're going to talk about all of that. It's all about care, taking care of our loved ones, our animals, and our humans. All of that coming up on today's Real Monica Adams Show.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Welcome back. Thanks again for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. If you just tuned in, we just ran through our news you can use, and now we're getting into one of our 2 features for today. We've been talking about Garden View Care Centers over the last couple of months, and it all started with my own mother going there, and I fell in love with the entire team, and we continue to talk, there she is, and continue to talk about the wonderful care that they took care of my mom. And, I just found out someone else fell like my mom did, and unfortunately fell down the steps and really hurt herself. And so immediately out of my mouth is to say, I really highly recommend that you try to get into Garden View. But that's the thing. You need to take a tour, and maybe it's something that you're doing beforehand, which I highly recommend, or maybe it is something like this, where you go from the hospital and you need to find out that continuing care before they might be able to go back home. Where are they located? Well, there's 3 locations. One of them is in Chesterfield. That's where Mama Jackie was. One's in O'Fallon, and then one is in Doherty Ferry. So we've met some of the team from Chesterfield and Doherty Ferry, but we haven't had a chance to meet anybody from O'Fallon yet until today. Linda Hagler-Reid is from the O'Fallon area. First of all, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm very excited to speak with you today.
Well, and it's a very important topic that we discuss. For those of you that right now are going through it, or maybe you had someone that had dementia, you know how hard it is on that particular patient as well as a caregiver and everyone around them. But you have a best friend program, which is what you're involved with, which I absolutely love. How long has that been in existence?
Well, the program itself has been in existence since the 90s, and
Really?
it was actually developed by David Troxell and Virginia Bell years ago, but it has just gained momentum in the United States. It's internationally known program, so we're excited to bring it to Garden View. Very excited.
How long have you had it?
We just finished. I finished the training in March. It's an intensive training for it to be a master trainer for the program, and you get a certificate, and then you get the educational tools to train your staff in the best friends way of doing dementia care.
And as I mentioned before, there are so many people that say, does my loved one have dementia? Does my loved one have Alzheimer's? Or what level is this? Can you explain the differentiation of the two?
Actually, everyone has forgetfulness.
Sure.
I have sometimes I wonder,
Yep.
But
menopause does it too, by the way, Linda.
yeah, stress, anything does it too. So everybody has forgetfulness. Dementia is normally when you can't function independently. You can't do your checkbook anymore. You can't make appointments and get there. So you need a little extra help. You need a best friend to be an advocate for you. And so that's what this program is all about. We don't look at the different levels necessarily of dementia. We look at each person individually.
Love that.
And we develop a life story for them so we understand what their history is and what things are of value to them, what's important in their life. And we don't lose those important pieces of our lives as we get older, even if we get dementia. Those important aspects are still there. Sometimes they don't show themselves all the time, so we have to become investigators to determine how to bring that value back into the lives of those residents with dementia.
And the patience and the care, being there as a best friend, Linda. So my family is going through phases of that. Some of you full on. My husband lost his father to dementia, Alzheimer's, many, many, many years ago. So I've been there personally. I understand for all of you that are going through it. Can you help us? Because if they're in our care, and then eventually it's a point of we can't anymore, and we turn them over into your care, from us to you, what can we be doing before in that transition, or at the same time? Because again, you're coming and you're taking care of them in your own way when you're there visiting.
I think it's very, very hard for families to understand. Most people don't know a lot about dementia, so I think education is key. Families need to understand what's happening with their loved one. So many times I see families try to bring their loved one back to their reality. And that generally is not a good idea. We have to learn to live in their reality so that we can understand what it is they're going through. I have a really good example. Last weekend, I was working and they were having some behaviors in our dining room in the dementia unit, and the RN who was on duty went back there and said, okay, we're having a dance-off. And so the staff had a dance-off in the dining room, and it brought joy to the residents and ended, that whatever issues were going on. So, sometimes you have to be an investigator and do those extra things. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's an hour, but moments of joy are what we're looking for to bring to the lives of the residents that we serve.
Absolutely, because it's got to be such a feeling of alone, a feeling of scared, that uncomfortable laughter that happens because they don't have the words, they don't know where to find the words, and then kind of that blank stare that happens of, where am I, who is this person? That's the parts for us, again, that gets scary when you get to the level where they don't recognize you and people get frustrated. They're thinking, well, I'm your child, how can you not? But the anger side and the frustration and the lack of patience is what I see all too often because it's such an unknown to people. And when it finally hits them, on this side, we don't know what to do with it.
I understand. I dealt with the same thing with my own mother, and I've worked in long-term care for many, many years, and you'd think I know better, but I would look at my mother and I'd think, you used to be a strong woman. You set the example for our family. You were all of these things, and all of a sudden, you can't put a sentence together. Mm-hmm. That just does not seem like it fit with who she was. And it didn't,
right,
because she was having dementia, but I needed to understand, like I tell everyone else, is that her history is still there. Mm-hmm. And we just needed to learn how to tap into it. She ended up living in one of my facilities, and she had a wonderful end of life. It was a great time for her.
Well, and that's the part that Linda's mentioning. Again, if you're just tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show, this is Linda Hagler-Reid. She is with Garden View Care Center O'Fallon, and we're talking about this program that they're just implementing, this Best Friends program, which is so very needed. So what are you most excited about that you're bringing to Garden View?
I'm most excited about the education for the staff, because oftentimes staff don't know what to do either. They don't have the education to understand why a resident has a behavior or why a resident is non-cooperative. And we will get life stories at the very beginning from now on. When someone comes to live with us, we want a life story so we understand what's important to them, what brings value to their lives, and so we can incorporate that into their activities of daily living. We've set up an area that we call the Purposeful Life Workstations. Mm-hmm. So the residents can garden there. There's a vanity there with scarves and hats and jewelry for the ladies, because who doesn't want to put on a pretty necklace, right, and look nice? And there's a nursery area. We have one lady in particular that will carry 2 or 3 babies around with her all day long because she was a caregiver all of her life, and that's so important to her. And we have bins of activities, so if the staff don't know what to do, they can just grab a bin, and there is a sustaining activity in there. And it may just be a cue card, how to start a conversation. Mm-hmm. Tell me about when you were in high school. Did you ride your bike to school?
Right.
Did you get to stay out until the lights came on at night? Did you drink out of the hose? All of those things that happened. And tell me how you met your wife or your husband,
right,
or whatever. And those things are so important. You can engage the person with conversation for 10 or 15 minutes that takes them down memory lane.
Absolutely. Yes, because, there are things that happened 5-10 minutes ago or even an hour ago, and then they're asking the same question, and you're just sitting there thinking, but I just said this. But then they'll come back and be telling you every little intricate detail of where they grew up. I have a friend that put together this workbook that just has blown me away that we've been doing with my mom. And I'm getting stories I've never heard of before, or I'm getting levels of stories, deeper and deeper of a story that I've heard before, but now there's so many different layers to it. And that's it. Don't just have them sit there and not talk to them and not engage with them. I love the fact that in the beginning you had mentioned that when you got certified in this program, that immediately it was that we are humanizing, that we are treating that person as a person, and we're not looking at it and treating the disease that it is.
Absolutely. And one of the most important aspects is when a resident has a behavior, if they can't communicate, the only way they're communicating is through their behavior. So it's not really an unwanted thing. It's not how do we stop that behavior, but how do we figure out what is creating that behavior? Are they uncomfortable? Are they hungry? Is there an unmet need? I can't talk. Is there something in the environment that's triggering them that we need to look at? So we have to really look at all aspects around what a resident is experiencing to determine what is causing that behavior. I have one resident in particular that hates having a shower. Well, then why does she have to have a shower? The staff say, "Oh, I don't want to give her a shower. She'll fight me." Well, then let's figure out why. Let's give her a bubble bath. Let's give her a glass of wine and turn the TV on with some good music and see if that works. And it's been more successful. She's also one that loves to sing, so if they sing through the entire shower, she will be fine.
So you just have to find the joy for her.
Absolutely, absolutely.
For her, for him. Again, if you're just tuning in, dementia, is it something that has impacted your family? Drop a comment in. If you have any questions for Linda, please drop them in now, or I know a lot of you rush around. You're getting back to work today after the holiday. Come back to this, because this is one of those that I want you to share far and wide. Dementia, Alzheimer's, it affects so many levels of people. So drop your comments in, drop your questions in. We'll get to those. We're going to take a quick break. Our segment today, by the way, brought to you by our friends with Bridget Childress Legal Nurse Consulting on a Testament Tuesday. And Linda truly has a testament, because I was just going to say this, but I'll do it when we come back, that it is truly another level of care for someone that has dementia. It's a true calling for those people. So Bridget, by the way, thank you for being a part of our Testament Tuesdays. Childress Legal Nurse Consulting. Be sure to look her up. It is childresslnc.com is the website, and then you can also find her on LinkedIn. Get connected with her. Love what she's doing. She is a nurse that started this exactly 1 year ago, and she works with the lawyers to make sense of medical records, the chaos of the medical records. Yeah, right? You need somebody with patience with that. So once again, it is Childress Legal Nurse Consulting, and she's a charge nurse, a 24-hour charge nurse for what she does. We love you, Bridget. Thank you for everything that you've done on a Testament Tuesday. Okay, we'll have more on dementia, your comments, your questions, and more about this Best Friends program with Garden View Care Centers when we return. Am I healing the Parkinson's? But I am helping it subside. I'm helping him feel better.
Oh, definitely.
Not only in the moment, but sometimes for the next day, or maybe even a couple days. And that's why he keeps coming back. If it didn't feel good, you wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I
And
look
she
forward
said
to
he
it.
won't have tremors when he's on the table. And I don't know why that happens, but she'll tell me he doesn't tremor when he's on the table. So for whatever release is in his body for that period of time, it's been very beneficial.
So you just find yourself being able to calm and be in the
Exactly,
moment?
I'm more relaxed and calm.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Monica. This is Linda Hagler-Reid, again from Garden View Care Centers O'Fallon, and this wonderful Best Friends program that is just being implemented with Garden View in memory care. I know for those of you that are watching, again, comments or questions, feel free to drop them in. Let's see. Linda says, my mom went through this. She was a strong and stubborn woman, so it was really hard to watch her go through it. Now my sister has to watch her husband, experience dementia. It's been really stressful for her. Thank goodness she's a strong woman like her mama. It does take a lot of strength, spiritual and mental. Jody says, my daughter's trying to take care of her dad. He's only 57, but he has a very advanced form of dementia. He is becoming very combative, and she is getting to where she's afraid of him. Is there anything she can do for that?
Well, that's a very difficult situation, and I really feel for her. 57 is very young to be experiencing dementia. She needs to try to figure out what is triggering the behavior. There may be something that he's trying to communicate with her that he no longer has words for. Sometimes it's important to have an evaluation done by a psychiatrist to see if there are underlying causes for these behaviors. Maybe there's a medication that he needs, and it sounds like she needs a break. If she wanted to look into home health or something of that nature that might, or even an adult daycare for him, so that she gets a break from caring for him and regenerates herself, because if she's caring for him 24 hours a day, that's an awesome undertaking.
Well,
hard,
yeah, and I
very
mentioned
hard.
going into the break just how difficult it is because it's such an unknown and people are trying to do the right thing, but then they lose themselves, right? The caregiving aspect, absolutely. So, Jody, our thoughts and prayers going out to you. I think we asked this at the beginning, but Linda's now asking it again. What is the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? My mother-in-law had Alzheimer's and passed away, wow, at age 57.
Oh, my. Well, dementia and Alzheimer's are kind of Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Dementia is like the umbrella of Lewy body disease. They used to call it hardening of the arteries when you have lack of oxygen to the brain. And dementia of the Alzheimer's type can only be diagnosed after death, and you see the brain, and they can biopsy the brain. The brain actually shrinks in the case of Alzheimer's, so every time it shrinks a little more, a different piece of what is going on in the brain is lost. And if they lose frontal lobe function early, then it's going to impact speech and it's going to impact behavior. So those are important things to remember, that it's not your family member acting out.
No.
It is pieces of them that are being lost. They're losing. And in many situations, they know it's happening and they can't stop it.
Right. And that's the hardest part. It's the hardest part for them. It's the hardest part for you. I mentioned going into the break the amount of patience and love and a true calling that it takes for someone to work in memory care, to work with Alzheimer's and dementia patients. Do you not agree with that?
I agree with that. And actually, what we're doing at Garden View is we're interviewing our current staff to see who has the best behaviors, the calm attitude, the compassion for the residents. Not everyone can care for someone with dementia. And just because one of our staff isn't a dementia prospect doesn't mean they're not good caregivers. It just means they're not going to work on the dementia unit.
Absolutely. Again, it's such an emotional roller coaster that all of you go through. If you are right now, I mean, again, the ages that some of you are telling me is heartbreaking to me. I think in our minds, it's a disease that we think is older. But we
Right.
already have two people sharing stories about people in their 50s, which is so lonely, again, to think that that's what they're going through. But we want to transfer that's the whole message of today. When we talk about wanting to give you inspiration and hope, and the hope is the one that's going to stand out today, motivation, that you can find that love in that person. You just have to probably think extra levels and go deeper, to not just sit there and have just this normal conversation where you're not getting anything. You got to go deeper and ask those questions that bring them back.
Absolutely. And in many situations, going to a dementia unit, the stigma is we don't want to do that. We don't want to put dad in a dementia unit or a locked unit or whatever it is. But you lose yourself, as you said, in caring for people with dementia. And if you're able to find a quality program for them to be involved in, like we have at Garden View Care Center, you have the opportunity to regenerate yourself.
Right.
And you can once again become the family member instead of the caregiver.
Yep.
And the staff members take on the caregiver role, and they're specially trained to do that. So that's why I'm so excited about this program, and I'm so pleased that the leadership at Garden View has supported me in making this transition for this role and to provide the training for me. And so I'm very excited about what the future holds for Garden View.
Absolutely. I'm excited that it's available now to each and every one of you. As you're watching this, again, you want to pass this along so people can understand that this program is available, again, through Garden View. Is it going to be at Garden View?
O'Fallon.
O'Fallon only?
To start.
To start.
This is our starting point.
Okay.
But I can educate up anybody in our organization. So once we get this one off the ground and functioning, we'll probably branch out to the others as well.
And
So-
again, O'Fallon is where it is now. The other locations, though, of Garden View, if you're just tuning in, Chesterfield, Doherty Ferry, and O'Fallon for the care from Garden View. But this particular Best Friends program is, again, at O'Fallon. One of the things that I want to stress in today's show is preserving dignity.
Absolutely. Dignity and respect. Everyone deserves dignity and respect. And you have to understand what a person is made up of, the things that are important to them, their history, the things that they're proud of, their family life. And you have to be able to incorporate that into their daily care and honor what that past is by incorporating it into their present. We do family albums, we do picture albums, we do memory boxes outside the doors of resident rooms to engage that resident with the current environment.
So that's the thing for those of you that, again, until you turn them to the care of Garden View at home, it is doing these things. People always wonder, is there some type of game I should be playing with them? Should they be doing Sudoku? Should they be doing these word games together? The answer is probably yes, as much as you can get them involved in.
Absolutely. And it may be that they can only have an attention span of 5 or 10 minutes. So you can't get frustrated with someone and want them to finish that picture or puzzle or whatever, because they don't have the attention span to be able to do that. Do a little bit, come back to it later, do something else. Sometimes what we have to be is very flexible with our residents, so that what works for this 5 minutes may not work for that 5 minutes, and we have to be ready to change what we're doing and not get so caught up in the task of what we're doing. So many times in healthcare, employees get caught up in tasks. We have to check everybody every 2 hours. We have to bathe everybody every day. We have to get everybody up at 5 a.m. for their breakfast at 7, and then we have to have them all waiting outside the door.
And
for
you're like, good luck.
Yeah, when I get there, don't be waking me up at 5 o'clock because I want to sleep until 10. But that's the things that we want to learn about our residents. Are they early risers? Do they go to bed early? Do they like to watch the news? Do they have favorite movies? Are the news voodoo to them? Do you not want them to watch the news? Some people like rom-coms, some want westerns, some like classical music, and then we have others that want country western as loud as you can play it.
So the message you're getting across is we need to find out that individual.
Absolutely. And as we move from activity to activity throughout the day, incorporate pieces of what that person has had in their past, and it connects them to the future.
And again, it's fascinating to me, and I mentioned this earlier as we just came off of Memorial Day, to sit down. That generation is just so incredible to me. And again, I know in my mind I'm thinking older, and those of you are already giving me a wake-up call of dementia at a much earlier age. But let's go into our 60, 70, 80, 90-year-olds and listen to them. Let them tell those stories. And Linda, you agree with this? If they tell that story 100 times, listen to it each time.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I have had families come to me because we have had conversations with residents about their history, and we've learned things that the families didn't know.
Yep.
And a daughter will come to me and say, I didn't know that about my mother. Well, spend the time, sit down, have a listening ear, and try to hear those pieces of the past that they're bringing into their future. And then we have to incorporate that into our activities of daily living to make their days meaningful. So we're looking for moments of connection, and it's going to take a different form with every resident based on their history. It's very individualized care. It's kind of a step above person-centered care, where we're getting to know the individual so well that we actually become their best friend. You know how your best friend, you know all the things they like and don't like, and you know what they're afraid of, and you know what brings them joy. And those are the kinds of things that we want our staff to know about our residents. I worked in a program not with Garden View, but in my history, where an employee became so close to one of the residents in her memory care center that when that resident had to go to the hospital, she went with her because she said they're not going to know her. They're not going to understand what she means when she acts this way. I want to be there for her. I want to make sure that she gets the care that she deserves. And that's the kind of connection we want to create at Garden View and O'Fallon. I am so excited about this.
I can tell. I hope you all can tell also.
It's going to be a great program, and the people that work there, it's going to bring joy into their lives as well, because they need the tools to be able to manage. They want to do a good job,
Sure.
but it's hard to know what to do, especially when there's some behaviors, and those are things we need to learn how to manage.
And dementia and Alzheimer's shows up in many different forms, from its beginning to it just grabbing hold, and you may see complete changes of character in that person. I've also spoken with a lot of neurologists that talk about what part of the brain that it's impacting. So if you have someone that was just very loving and just the sweetest person, then all of a sudden they completely change and become, as you mentioned, combative or argumentative, it's affecting that emotional aspect of their brain.
Absolutely. And they can't control it.
Yeah.
So they're not attacking you.
Right.
And you can't take it personally.
It's so hard.
It is hard, especially if you're a family member. It's very hard. But it is not personal.
No.
They're trying to communicate something and they can't.
And that's where you have to separate away. And like you mentioned, it isn't easy. And sometimes maybe you do actually need to step out and then come back, have the patience. The biggest thing is take yourself out of it. And you're going to have to pray on that, folks, because I'm right now so unbelievably blessed that we still have that sweet, adorable mother that Garden View fell in love with. They're like, we love your mom, and I get that. I don't want that to change, but I am immersing myself in this disease as much as possible to understand what could come, and then how do we and you all work together with that. I love the fact that this is called the Best Friends Program, because that's truly what you want by your side.
Absolutely.
You mentioned earlier, obviously, we're understanding the human being, we're understanding their hobbies, but you also are understanding their fears.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the first things we ask family members is there anything in the history that we need to be aware of for this resident? Were they molested as a child? Were they in a fire? Have they experienced homelessness? Do we need to know things that are going to make them anxious and nervous? We have some residents that don't want male caregivers, and I totally understand that. So we make that happen. We have some residents that don't want water in their face because they were in a flood, and that scares them. So we don't want to give them a shower or give them. We may have to do a bed bath.
Yep.
Yeah. We have to adjust what we do to fit the resident rather than trying to adjust the resident to fit what we're doing.
That's right.
And that takes time, and it takes energy, and we want to envelop the whole person and let them keep their personhood for as long as they can. You said there's many kinds of dementia. Some of them are just old age dementias, and they may take forever. They may be in that one stage for a long, long time, and then you may have someone who goes through the phases very quickly. It's individualized the way the issue hits a person, and it's important to understand how to deal with different aspects when they change.
Absolutely. Again, if you're just tuning in, Linda Hagler-Reid, she is with the Best Friends program that they're just implementing at Garden View Care Center's O'Fallon. If you have not heard of Garden View, we've been talking about them for the last couple of months. Again, getting a chance to really know the team that's going to be caring for you, maybe, or your loved one. 3 locations. One of them is in O'Fallon, Missouri, which is where Linda is. They also have Chesterfield, Missouri, and then one in Geordie Ferry. And I keep mentioning to go to their website, gardenviewcares.com, go to their social media pages. And by the way, they've been doing some really cool stuff. You got to get involved in some of these TikToks that they're doing. She's like, no.
Yeah.
But again, follow them on social media. And it's important of all ages. One of the things that we love on this show is doing that generational talk and getting seniors talking with the youth and connecting, right? Get the grandkids involved. I want to go into that part. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to know, what do you tell the grandkids? What do you tell the great-grandkids? It's very scary. We just mentioned fear. It's scary for them because suddenly grandma and grandpa don't maybe recognize them, or grandma and grandpa are acting a little different than they were used to, and the kids don't know what to do with it. So how do they help us as a whole? We'll get into that when we return.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. No commute, no appointments, just warmth, relief whenever you need it. Sore muscles recover faster, tight joints loosen up, tension you carry all day, gone. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. We have two parts today. We are talking today about dementia, and it's something that impacts so many people. And for that, we are being compassionate to you. We understand. I've been through it. So has Linda. Linda Hagler-Reid is my guest from Garden View Care Centers, the O'Fallon location. Again, this wonderful new Best Friends program that they will be implementing. She's an administrator and certified Best Friends trainer. So we're going to talk about the family unit as a whole, especially our younger kids, in just a second. Let me go back to some of your questions and comments. Jody said it is breaking her down. She's 32 and it's very hard for her. I tell her she needs a break, as you mentioned. Absolutely. She can't seem to take the step to have him placed in a facility. We'll address that. Linda says, my dad also had dementia. Is this a hereditary thing?
It can be. Can be. Doesn't necessarily doom you. It can skip generations. It can, my whole father's family, everyone in my father's family has had dementia, but no one in my mother's family. So which genes did I get? I don't know.
Right.
Time will tell, I guess. But I don't think we can live in fear.
No,
we don't want to do that. We got to be able to live the lives that we were given. And part of that is understanding our value. Mm-hmm. I was looking at your book. Know your value. Understanding your value. Know your value. Know what your history is. Yep. Know what gifts you have. Everybody has gifts. And as we age, we're going to lose some of those gifts. It's just natural progression of the aging process. We won't always be able to run that 10K.
Right.
I have a brother-in-law who's 80 years old, and he bikes in races, and he's not going to be able to do that much longer. I keep thinking, but who knows? But dementia is a progressive illness, and it may start. You may manage it at home for many, many years, and but then it may progress rapidly, like some of the people have indicated, which is very hard to deal with. And that change if it happens so quickly, you don't know how to manage that, and that you really need the help of a professional in order to make that happen.
Linda said, my cousin's husband also passed away from Alzheimer's at age 62. It's a terrible thing to watch to happen to your loved one. Then Jody says his wife died a few months before all of this started. He's gone downhill ever since that happened. Debbie, there are many research studies that people can participate in to help. I'm part of a research study. Okay. Thank you very much. That's from WashU, evidently. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that are available to us, but the one thing is community. Once you, because it's so new. You're going along in life, and then all of a sudden it happens to you, and it's an unknown, as I mentioned earlier. So the entire family unit has to get involved in this. I mentioned going into the break, how do we make our younger generation understand?
It's very, very hard for young people to understand, especially when we don't understand ourselves. So the more education we can get for ourselves that we can share, and kids are intuitive, and they often understand better than we give them credit for. Mm-hmm. If we can do activities with our residents are with the family member, that has maybe a historical base on family members and experiences. A resident may not recognize their grandchild, but it may remind them of their brother that they took care of when they were little, and they may call them by that name. And so it's important, instead of trying to correct that resident, to tell me about your brother. What was it you loved most about him?
My best friend is personal training a woman right now that's in memory care at another facility, and she is helping me with some of the language, right? And so she's like, this particular woman that I take care of, she said she always calls me my daughter's name and says, are you going to pick up, so and so? She's like, I don't correct her, I just say, yep, I sure am.
Yeah. I worked in a dementia unit in Kansas one time, and we just opened it, and one of our first residents was Norma. And Norma was the most precious thing. She did not recognize her daughter. And when we were going through the admission, the daughter was crying. And I felt so bad for her. After Norma moved in, and every day when I would go into the dementia unit, she would come running to me with arms wide open, and she'd say, Sue, I'm so happy to see you. And I became Sue to her.
Absolutely.
And so every day, and then finally I asked the daughter, I said, who is Sue? And she said, her next door neighbor. They had coffee every morning. So from that point on, we had coffee every morning, and we sat out on the front porch and talked about the neighbors. So, I became Sue in her life, and it doesn't matter to me. I don't force someone to call me by my name.
This is your fun nickname now.
Yeah, it's not important to me anymore, but having children get engaged with their family members with some activity so they can see the connection that they can still develop. That's important.
So again, I want you to understand this Best Friends program, and I love the philosophy, by the way. It's built around becoming a best friend to the resident, and the level of, when you care enough, you become a best friend, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't, and you just dismiss the person, or you never do engage like we're talking about, then these beautiful human beings become a best friend, and then you can't be jealous because, and I bet you
It
see that
does
a lot.
happen. It does
I
happen,
bet.
yes.
So the best friend is supportive and patient and respectful and encouraging and emotionally present.
Absolutely. In this society, when everybody's on their phones, when everybody's on their iPads, it's important to have our staff disengage from that part of their lives while they're caregiving. The people that are chosen to work in the dementia unit at Garden View of O'Fallon are going to be the same people all the time. So we'll have consistent staffing. So we're not going to pull one out to work another unit. So when the residents get to know the staff that are working there, those are the people that are always going to be there. So they'll recognize them. They'll become familiar to them. That's important
I was gonna
as
say, that
well.
would be hard if it's constantly a changing
Yes,
face.
absolutely.
There needs to be consistency.
And we're going to change our staffing model so that not everybody leaves at the same time. One of the things I always hear residents' families say is, they get very anxious about 3 o'clock, where our shift changes at 3 o'clock. Everybody's leaving, and they're thinking, I need to leave too, and so if we stagger our staffing, it will become easier for that transition to take place. Those kinds of small changes in the environment make a big difference, and it helps us develop that community that we're going to have in our dementia unit.
Yeah, as you said that, it was just all these smaller things that could be huge, and we're not even seeing it.
Right.
Because again, you're not present. You're so right. One of the things that I was telling somebody the other day was, when I am visiting with mom, I am visiting with mom.
Absolutely.
It is, and it's hard for me because I get crazy busy with all of this happening, that I'm like, no, I got to put it aside, and if someone really wants me, I'll let them know where I am, and they can call her house and get involved with that. So, okay, simple things, right? Know their favorite music. You mentioned earlier, country. It could be Motown. It's bringing them back to what they grew up with. A preferred morning routine. Do they start with coffee? Do they start with a certain breakfast? A career background. What did they do? Start asking them that. Oh my gosh, I just got to chill. You'll get some incredible stories when they start telling you what they did. Favorite foods, right, that bring them back maybe to childhood. These can all impact their behavior, their comfort level, their happiness, their joy that we're looking for in them.
Their connection to the community, their connection to now. Right, you bring up food. We always want to know what somebody's favorite meal is. And the ideal is going to get to the point where we do our life stories prior to admission. So when that resident comes to live with us, we have decorations in the room. So if they're a Cardinal fan, we'll have Cardinal banners or whatever, or even Cardinals sitting in the room. We'll know what their favorite movie is. We'll have it on the movie channel when they get there. We'll know what their favorite food is. We'll incorporate that into their meal plan for the week. So we connect in all these little ways with them to help them feel comfortable when they first come into the environment. And that allows that trust to be gained between the resident and the caregiving staff. And then the caregivers are going to know what those life stories say. So they know if someone had a difficult childhood and disconnected from their own mother or father, but if they have important people in their life, who those people are. So that when they are down and depressed, they might want to talk about your grandson, Kevin.
Yeah.
Tell me about Kevin.
Right.
And so if you bring the name, that triggers the memory. And that's what we want to do, create those memories and those moments in time that bring value to the life of the residents that we serve. And it may just be moments of clarity. It may just be 5 minutes, but it brings value to their life. It brings connection to the community. And it creates value for that resident. So.
Again, the value, one of the things I want to wrap up with is the tone in the room and the energy. You can feel from Linda, can you not? I mean, it just kind of screams through this. I'm just sitting here going, well, I know who I would want to take care of my mom. This glow you have about you, it's your purpose, it's your calling. And many of us go through life. I ask the question of my life coaching clients all the time, what's your purpose? And a lot of times they're like, I have no idea. When you know your purpose and you walk in it, it is such a powerful place to be. So the powerful place where you and your loved ones can be to have this level of care and this type of energy, truly compassionate, truly caring, is Garden View. O'Fallon, Missouri is the location where this Best Friends program is right now. And as Linda mentioned, they will get that program off the ground, and then it most likely would be transferring to some of their other locations, which again is Chesterfield and in Doherty Ferry. Jody, you're so very welcome. She said, thank you, ladies. We greatly appreciate that. So, yes, understand that there are people there to help you through what you're going through in the moment. And also, I mentioned it in the description, please take care of you as well.
Absolutely.
The
absolutely.
caregiving aspect of it. I have a friend who has a husband who's about 20 years older than her, and he has Parkinson's. And she's like, Monica, it's just after however many years, I think that he's had it, 20 years maybe. She's like, it gets so hard. And I said, you can't lose yourself.
Absolutely. And the energy you bring into the room is going to be transferred to that person. So if you're overwhelmed, they're going to feel that. Mm-hmm. If you're anxious, they're going to feel that.
You're angry at them, they're going to get combative.
Absolutely. So you need to control your behavior, control what's going on in the environment. Like you said, you don't want loud noises, you don't want lots of hubbub at change of shifts, because those things create anxiety.
Yeah.
Those things create unknown.
There's no perfection here, right? And give yourself some grace.
Absolutely.
The other thing is the decision-making process of transferring it from your care to transferring it to your care at Garden View. That's got to be a very difficult decision.
Very difficult. We also like to have families develop these memory books so that we can have them and talk about them and keep them in the lives of the resident as well. So if we have pictures of all the family members in that book and them doing fun things together, that's helpful as well.
So Garden View Care Centers, again, they will be known for this, the incredible value that they're bringing, as Linda mentioned, and the expertise and the level of what they can do for you and for your loved ones. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy to be here. And I really hope that if anyone has the opportunity, that they will come by and visit with us and see the program that we have. It's in its infancy right now. It will grow, and as with any change, it's going to take time.
Sure.
But
Patience.
Patience, yes, absolutely. But we will get there. I have absolute faith in this program, and I am pleased that our organization has taken on the opportunity to provide this service to the community. So
Absolutely.
come and see us.
Please do. And that's the thing I keep stressing to you is touring. So this is a brand new program that you can find out. GardenviewCares.com is the website. Again, the O'Fallon, Missouri location is where this Best Friends program is. But for all the other levels of care, you might want to tour Chesterfield. You might want to tour Doherty Ferry. You will really, truly be just completely blessed when you find out the care that they're able to provide to you. One of the things that I bet you they love, if they had a pet and they start talking about that pet growing up, right?
Absolutely.
They love, and I love the fact Garden View, when I was looking at the calendar when my mom got there, I'm like, oh, I bet you that's a dog that comes and visits you. Well, by the way, there's a dog that's going to be coming through this door in just a second.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So today, it's the level of care for humans and furry babies alike. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Linda Hagler-Reid, again from Garden View, O'Fallon. We're going to transition to Canine Innovations. We're going to talk with Kari Montgomery and George, a four-legged friend, coming in next. But by the end of this, I want 100% raising your hands. I'm here to empower you because you all have intrinsic value. I don't care if someone has told you that you don't. Today, we are here to make you believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bonacorsi, and I'm the president and founder of J Bloom. And I chose Monica Adams to be our keynote speaker because of the positivity that she illuminates whenever she speaks. She's an amazing influence and has so much impact on these women that they are going to leave changed.
It's a constant education. Never stop being the leader. If you are given the opportunity to be, and I hate the word boss, by the way, don't we like leader more? Have you all seen that image of a boss shouting behind their team and then the leader out in the trenches? And I know there's a lot of people that are thrown into your paths, and there are people who try to squash your dreams. It could be your partner, it could be your parents, your children, a boss that you've had, but you cannot, from this day forward, I'm going to ask you to not give them power any longer. So we think it, we write it, we hear it. Think right here. Make connections today. Then pave that way. You now have the awareness, so how do you pave that path?
Your message, like at the end, you be anything but before that, be kind.
Yep.
My husband's a pastor, and that every one of his sermons, that's always within it. That be kind.
Yep.
You have to be kind.
It is.
Oh, you're fine.
Look at this. So there's an employee out there who still thinks of you because you were kind to them. Never stop being that leader. By the way, I want to be remembered for this phrase when I'm no longer on this earth. The greatest rewards in life come from the most uncomfortable walk. God meant for me to talk to you. Oh, it's okay. You, honey, have a lot of value. And someone's told you that you don't. And I was meant to be in your life today. I've always said, I have chills. Do we all have chills? God, I say, if you can have me change one person's life, then I have done your job. I'm hoping it's all of you. But see, she's not okay for whatever reason. I don't know your story, but I'm going to tell you they're wrong. And all these women believe in you.
To hire Monica Adams for your next event, email info@therealmonicaadams.com.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. So again, talking about caring for so many today, our loved ones with dementia. And now we're talking about one of my favorite things, furry animals. Kari Montgomery with Canine Innovations with George. Hi, George. George is 9 weeks old.
9 weeks old.
So Kari, first of all, thanks for coming in. We're going to talk about really taking care of our babies, their gut health, their immune support, etc., and these incredible supplements that we're going to introduce you to. But before we do that, tell me about George.
So George is a 9-week-old English cream golden retriever. And we have big aspirations for him. So he's going to start puppy school here in a couple of weeks. And our goal is to be able to use him as a voice with Canine and use him as a service dog so that we can go visit hospitals and different things like that and help bring some joy into people's lives. Because, I mean, there's nothing really cuter than a puppy, but a well-behaved dog that can help calm and soothe and bring some joy to some little kids, we think would be pretty amazing.
What we also just mentioned seniors, how much they love them.
Yes.
We should bring them into assisted care facilities and nursing homes, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Would you like that, George? He's like, yes.
Yes.
Oh, do you know your name?
Yes, I know my name.
Puppy school training is so very important, by the way.
Oh my goodness, yes. Start those daily habits from the very beginning and expand on them every day.
How long have you had him?
We have had him for, it'll be 2 weeks on Wednesday, Thursday.
Is he going to go through a photo shoot and end up on your supplements?
He probably has already done a little bit of that as well.
Are you going to be on here? Yes. You're going to be the face. He's like, what? What am I doing? So tell us about Canine Innovations.
Okay, so Canine Innovations is a health and wellness supplement for dogs. Dogs think it's a treat because it tastes like a treat, but owners know it's more than that.
Sure.
Because we focus on clean ingredients, we focus on no fillers, we focus on ingredients that matter the most to be able to help you get to your goals and support your dog in the way you want your dog to be supported. So Scott and I came from the health and wellness human supplement business.
Okay.
So we were in that business for well over 35 years.
Oh, wow.
And we saw a really big gap in pet nutrition and a lot of similarities with being more reactive versus proactive, waiting until there's a problem to take action, which then takes a little bit longer to be able to get your health back to where it was. We saw a lot of noise out there and a lot of confusion and a lot of products that you're just like, oh my gosh, where do I start? And confused people typically don't do anything, right? Because it's just overwhelming. And we wanted to quiet that noise. We wanted to stop the overwhelm. We wanted to be able to help educate pet parents on, pet parents most generally are doing the right thing anyway, right? They're doing their best. They're doing their best. They're doing a lot of the right things. So if we can help quiet that noise, bring a little bit of clarity, lessen the confusion and bring really great products that can help them not just with longevity but with health. So being able to help your dog live longer is awesome, but you also want good quality years.
Absolutely. And then the importance of starting them young,
Yes.
right? So you're right. We are all trying to do the right thing, but it's no different than whether you're a parent of a human or you're a parent of a furry child. Yes, George. We are saying, are we feeding them the right things? Or when we're going to the vet, do we need to be doing this and that? It's researching and digging into being the best parent that you can be. But when it comes, and I mentioned this in the description today, we're changing seasons and we're looking at the dogs and we're like, well, we're feeding them the proper things, we think.
Right.
But you just mentioned, Kari, the level of what's in the ingredients of what we're giving them, which is so key. That's the important aspect of it all is, are there all these additives? Are there colors? Is that unnatural things that are being put into, and then we're actually working against them?
Sure, absolutely. There's a lot, and that's where it gets confusing and it gets overwhelming because sometimes pet parents are like, oh my gosh, I thought this was the right thing. I thought, again, they're doing their best. But that's why we focus on clean ingredients, no fillers, nothing artificial, made in the USA.
Love it.
We focus on keeping it simple, and you can pronounce all the ingredients that are on the label. And a lot of them you've heard of they're supposed to be good for you, right? So we're trying to, lessen the noise, eliminate a lot of the confusion, just keep it simple and keep it at a way that people can stay consistent with it because consistency in small daily habits outbeats short-term, hit it hard for however many days and let it go, right? Consistency wins every single time.
Yeah, Kari, and again, you mentioned, I didn't know that, but you mentioned that you came from the supplement industry for us for over 3 decades and knowing what we need to be having in our bodies and then saying, okay, we got to take care of these babies as well. What can we do for them? So what do you see most? Is it gut issues? Like we always talk about microbiome for ourselves, right? Is it gut issues? Is it immune issues?
Yes and yes. So just like humans, a lot of disease and illness and health issues in pets starts in the gut. If the gut is not correct, if it's not functioning properly, and a lot of people get a misconception with pets especially that gut health is all about going to the bathroom and bathroom issues. That's not the case. If their gut is off, they're not able to properly absorb the nutrients that you're giving them in their food. You may be feeding them the best food for them, but if they're not absorbing it, if they're not able to use it properly, if they're not able to digest it and use it to the best of their ability, it's not doing them as much good as what you're intending it for to happen. So a lot of things start in the gut. Skin and coat issues often start in the gut. Behavioral issues often start in the gut. It's not just bathroom issues. So everything starts in the gut just like it is for humans.
Yeah. And so what are we looking for in the changes of the animal for us to know, okay, is it an allergy that they're having to food? Is it something that because I mentioned that they're all running around outside right now, right? And they're coming back in and then they're itching. When Kari first reached out to me, it was me looking at our 3 dogs, and one of them, Tessa, you all know, she itches like crazy. And then we did a full-blown allergy test on her. She's allergic to everything. Okay. Which is frustrating. But our other dog, I kept going, oh my gosh. So we're looking at some of the pictures of what you might have at home, by the way, of their paws and how inflamed they can get. So if they start taking these supplements, we may start seeing changes in that?
You might, actually, yes. So I just want to be clear. Ours is not a specific allergy supplement. So we have skin and coat, but we are seeing and hearing reports from a lot of our clients that the skin and coat formula and the gut formula are helping get to the root cause of some of the allergies. It's helping to calm the skin. It's helping to lessen the itching. It's helping to better moisturize the skin as well as the hair follicles. The healthy hair follicles get irritated also with environmental changes and environmental allergies as well. Absolutely, it can help. It's not specifically for allergies, but when you get to the root issue with the gut, that helps, and then soothing and calming and supporting the skin. Basically, when you use them both, you're helping support them from the inside out and the outside in.
Well, I was just talking to Kari. We, for the last couple of years, have done a show on Thursdays called Positive Talk Time, and I've learned so much from that. Again, it's no different than a brand new parent looking for magazines and videos and talking to people of what do I do with this child, right? It's the same thing when you have a 4-legged animal coming in and you think, what am I doing wrong? Like, what we want that baby to be thriving, but is it something that you're giving them that's not good for them, right? You got to figure that out. George, you're cracking me up. Yeah. Are you normally sleeping at this time?
Well, I am a baby.
Did you want to go 9 out, or do you want one of these? So Kari mentioned at the beginning. So I was giving some of these to Tessa, but it was mixed in when she was taking a prescription pill. So on those positive talk times, Jessica taught me, she's like, Monica, I'm telling you right now, I don't think she needs that. She's like, a lot of it, I think, is what is she eating? And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're buying her kangaroo. That's what we found out that she could eat. And she's like, kangaroo. And I'm like, the dog is allergic to everything. It's crazy. And she's like, okay, well, but she taught us that the dog shouldn't have just kibble, that it should we were putting eggs on top, which of course we came back and realized, wait a minute, she's allergic to chicken. That's why she's still itching. But you have to know your animal, right? Really getting to know them. And then what are we putting, what kind of supplements? So this I did absolutely say, I'm giving to them and they think it's a treat. And Kari right away said, I love the fact that they think it's a treat, right? They want it.
Well, when they want it and then when they enjoy taking it, it makes it even easier to give. And you're giving treats anyway throughout the day. So why not give them a treat that's actually going to benefit them in the short term and long term?
And then does this also, for those that are saying, okay, do I give it once a day? Does it have to be dependent on their weight?
Sure, it is dependent on weight. There's a chart on the back. We recommend, just to keep it simple, because pet parents are busy anyway, right? We don't need one more thing to do. So what we try to say to help people stay consistent is give them their chews once a day when you feed them. So whether you feed them 1, 2, 3, 4 times, whatever you feed them, just give them the treats, one time a day during the meal. We have a client, he's a very large German Shepherd, and his pet parents reported back to us that They've tried burying the treats in his food, and he will go through his food to get to the treats to eat those first,
Of course.
before he eats his breakfast or dinner.
Because they know this is good for them.
Yes.
You know, that's key, by the way. I think that's really paramount of what you just mentioned is what else are you giving them to where they know better than us sometimes, like,
Right.
this is what I should be eating. This
Exactly.
is what I should have. You've been holding out on me. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Canine Innovations, pets or family too. So daily skin and coat, allergies, inflammation, immunity, skin and coat. Where can they find these, by the way?
So we are e-commerce. So you can find us on Amazon, probably even have it delivered by tomorrow.
Tonight.
Or tonight. And
so fast.
we're also on Chewy. And then we are also in select grooming stores throughout the St. Louis area.
Okay, so daily skin and coat, and then daily gut health, probiotics, digestive enzymes, fiber. So you have different flavors?
We do. So the skin and coat is a natural salmon flavor because of the wild Alaskan salmon oil and the omega-3, 6, and 9 oils that are in there. And then the daily skin and coat has a little bit of chicken in it, just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more palatable for them. So I'll be interested to see how Tessa does with that
With the
because
chick-
it doesn't have a lot of chicken in it.
Okay.
It just has a little bit, like a spray just over the top of it is what the chicken is.
But at the same time, we're talking about saying that she's allergic to chicken, but what else is in the food when they're giving them kibble? Right?
Exactly.
It's not just chicken; it's
Now-
all these other things.
Now, our golden doodle does not do well with chicken. We have a
but
9.
does okay with this?
She does totally fine with that. She does not have a problem with it at all. But we don't give her chicken in her food because it makes her very, very itchy.
Yeah. Again, the deep levels of things that you need to know being present and understanding your babies. George, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good. This is a 9-week-old beautiful baby, by the way. Okay, Canine Innovations. Again, Amazon from an e-commerce standpoint or select stores. Do you have a website that they can go
I do,
to?
yes. It's canine-innovations.com.
And that way you can find out a little bit more, go a little bit deeper in this. Kari Montgomery and George will have more when we return.
Okay, George, you want to go see?
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. As we mentioned, we had a part 2. And for those of you that have pets, or maybe your friends or family do, make sure you share this with them. They might have had to run off to work and they get a chance to watch us around lunchtime or later on, maybe even on the weekend. Make sure that they find this. So Kari Montgomery with Canine Innovations is our guest. There are so many supplements out on the market, right?
Yes.
There's so many ads that get popped up on our social media. And now there will be even more that I'm saying this. So how do they make the decision of knowing that this is what they need?
Sure. If I were giving advice to a pet parent who is looking at starting with supplements, I would make sure that you looked at the overall picture. Try not to get overwhelmed, first of all, because you walk up and down the aisles or even you're scrolling on Amazon or Chewy and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many out there, right? I would search for something that has clean ingredients, something made in the USA, something that's cold pressed. Because whenever you add heat to any ingredient, when you're talking about supplements or even food, it diminishes the quality of the ingredients, right? So you want cold pressed because that means that it has ingredient integrity, which means it's going to be more bioavailable, which basically in layman's terms means your dog is going to be able to absorb it and use the goodness that's in there to the best of its ability.
Okay.
You want something with key ingredients that you can pronounce, but you also want to be able to trust that company that they're giving you high quality ingredients. And that's not always easy to find. So I would maybe do a little bit of research on the company. You don't have to do something huge, but you don't have to do it, spend a ton of time doing that research, but you want to make sure you feel comfortable with how are they talking to you?
Yeah.
Are they helping educate you? Are they throwing a lot of marketing trends at you? Are they on the latest and greatest bandwagon hoping that you're just going to say yes?
Right.
Or do they seem like legitimate, down to earth, like they really do care about the pets more than they care about the sale?
Sure.
Do they care about you?
Yeah.
You know, are they doing all of these things for your best interest? And so that you can do better by your dog.
So when you start implementing this, again, there's two. If you're just tuning in or you're rushing off to work, make sure you come back to this. So daily skin and coat. Do we give them both of these?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You can do it individually, or you can do it both at the same time. They work better together, but they work great alone as well.
So gut health, if that's where you're finding out, or maybe your vet has said that there's been an issue with that, daily gut health and daily skin and coat. So you start to use these, and then because I think that's probably the biggest question people would have, when am I going to start seeing changes?
You know, it's interesting because just like with humans that start on any sort of health supplement journey or a workout journey or a eating better or whatever it is, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not a quick fix. It's not an overnight fix, right? The key is going to be to stay consistent with it. But we have had people come back to us and say, Kari, no kidding, 4 days, the dandruff was gone.
Really?
5 days, the shedding immensely diminished. We have one of my favorite stories is Finn, a Bernedoodle. I think I sent you some of his pictures. We've got those on our website as well. But with Finn was on 2 of the very prescribed medications from vets, and he was not getting any better. His paws were raw to the point where they were bleeding and different things like that. And the pet owner started on Skin and Coat first because that was our first product that we came out with. And within 4 weeks, there was a major difference in his paws. And then what the owner did is she added in the gut health as well. So Finn is on both.
Okay.
And we just got reports a couple of months ago that his paws look he's off of his medications. His paws look totally like healthy Bernedoodle paws.
Really?
And when she took him to the vet last, because he has to go frequently because of his allergy issues and his paw issues, the vet was like, what are you doing?
I need to know. Look at those paw difference.
She pulled up, the owner pulled up the products on Amazon because that's where she buys them from. And they looked at the ingredient label and the vet goes, do not stop that. This is better than anything that I sell in my office. And he doesn't need the 2 other drugs that you've been giving him that were giving him such horrible side effects.
Well, I was just going to say that was going to be one of the last things I wanted to mention was I would think that we need to get you inside of vet offices.
Yes. Well, you know what? Some vets are open to it. The vets that are open to animal chiropractic care, they're open to holistic. It's a whole new different, it's no different than an MD. You have some MDs that are like, no, we need to go strictly by what I learned in medical school, and there's something to be said for that. And then there are some MDs that are like, you know what, I believe in everything that I went to school for, but I also believe there are other things that we can do in conjunction and use what best fits the patient and what's in their best interest.
And that's the doctor I'm always looking for.
Absolutely.
Right? It's some of them are so book smart, but then you're like, look, go back centuries. I was at the botanical garden yesterday and looking at all of these plants, and I'm like, this is what the medicine is derived from, right? So let's go back to earth and the roots of it all and then understand that. And then take all these crazy additives out of it and keep the natural sources. And all of a sudden you'll see this change. I'm excited because our dog Opus is the one that has like the stuff going on in his paws right now. And so when I looked at that and looked at the pictures you provided us, I was like, well, that kind of looks like his paws. He's not one that takes treats.
Sure.
So I think I told Kari, I'm going to have to put it into his food and watch. He probably will go at that first. Like, I want more of that. What's that, Mom?
Yeah. Well, and the good thing is they're the size of a sugar cube, right?
Tiny.
And so they're soft. So you can crumble them if you need to. If you had a senior dog that's having, teeth issues or something like that, but they're not going to stick to their teeth. They're not going to cause plaque issues. You're not going to have other things that result from giving them the chews.
So again, we're talking about canine innovations. So she mentioned Amazon or Chewy or some select stores in the St. Louis, Missouri area. Or are you over in Illinois also? Or
we're trying to get in Illinois, yes.
Folks, if you're interested in bringing them into your place, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
They can actually reach out to us on our website.
Okay, so and again,
So-
here's all the information
Yes,
for
absolutely.
K9-innovations.com or on social media. Where are you most active on social media?
Most active on Instagram, which is K9_innovations.
So check them out there as well. Ginny said, good morning. What is the doggy medicine alternative for paws? She's mentioning again, there's a daily skin and coat if you're just tuned in, and then also the daily gut health. So check this out. So the ingredients, again, things that you can pronounce, which we
Yes.
mention all the time. And then what have you found from like the vitamin aspect, or you mentioned earlier omega-3, 6, 9. What do you find that is like the biggest aha moment for pet parents of, holy cow, I would have never thought of giving this to my dog?
Sure. So the biggest aha moment for pet parents is you don't have to give them 15 to 20 supplement products.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
You can hone in on what you want to focus on that you feel will bring them the best support
Yeah.
for longevity for health. And if I were a pet parent just starting off with supplements, I would most definitely start with gut.
Okay.
Because everything derives from the gut.
Yep.
And then I would go out from there. We've even had reports of from one of the groomers that uses us with a lot of her clients. There's a senior dog, and she started on the daily skin and coat, and the owner reported back that they noticed major joint support benefits from it because of all the omegas. Even though it's not a joint support product, they noticed a lot of joint support mobility improvement in their dog because of the omegas and the wild Alaskan salmon oil. So
That's
when
what
you
I was
get
just
good
gonna ask you.
quality, when
Yeah.
you get good quality products with really great ingredients, it will overlap into other areas of their life.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because you think of feeding yourself the wrong things and the body gets inflamed. It doesn't operate properly. You're not moving properly, and you're like, what's wrong? Well, it starts, as Kari said, it starts in the gut. So, Ginny, yes, I'm the same way, by the way. She just said, nice, I need an alternative for Riley instead of Apoquil. Here it is, by the way. So I'm glad you were watching this morning. Daily skin and coat, or it is that gut health that they need. So that is the changes that you can make. Do they, because a lot of times when we're changing from one food to another food, I know in the past I was always told to have a little bit left of the food as you're transitioning them over.
Sure.
Do we start with this right away? There's no problems?
There should be no problems.
Yeah.
The only side effect to both of these products is a healthier, happier dog.
Drop the mic right there. That's the best, right? You're going to see a big change. So Ginny, everybody else, start introducing this to your dogs. I'm going to take a before and after, by the way, because I didn't give these to Opus before. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of it, because he doesn't take anything else besides his food. However, he has evolved on his food. So it makes me think, okay, well, let's start introducing this to him, breaking it up a little bit into his food, and maybe we'll see some big changes with that.
Absolutely.
So we just had some pictures. I'd love to see more. I want to introduce you to my friend Jessica, who owns Yuppie Puppy Pet Spa in O'Fallon, in O'Fallon and in Cowderville, by the way, because she's very big on this type of stuff. And so I would imagine she would want to carry that as well.
Fantastic.
How many stores are you in right now, local?
So local, we're in 4.
Okay, we need more.
We need more.
Let's
Yes.
get more going, by the
Yes.
way. Okay, so all right, Richard, good morning. Richard, you just tuned in. You're going to want this for Dude. So he has a place called Dude's Playground, and he's got a dog that is actually part wolf.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, he's incredible. So Richard, go back and watch the show as we get ready to wrap up, because you're going to want to know all about this. So again, daily gut health, daily skin and coat with K9 Innovations. One more time, the website and their social media pages. Be sure to check them out. Again, we don't need to convince you. It'll happen on its own. Watch the changes and then document them and reach out. I'm sure Kari would love to know maybe some before and after pictures so she can see those changes. And yes, I told you, the animals will absolutely think, oh, cool, we get this treat besides our food in the morning. Let's see those pictures. I love to saturate social media with all the babies. How many dogs do you have, by the way?
We have 2.
You
So
have
we
2.
have a almost 9-year-old
Golden doodle?
mini golden doodle, and she's fantastic, but she is a homebody. She does not like to go places. So we're raising George a little bit differently. But you mentioned the pictures, and we would love that.
Yeah.
One of the downfalls of e-commerce, Monica, honestly, is we don't get to have enough conversations with our customers. We wish we did because we love that interaction. So we love it when people send us pictures. We love to use, the pictures that we use are real pictures on our social media and our website of real dogs that take our products, and we use them in different ways to help educate. Exactly.
Hold on before we wrap up. Okay, Richard said, I had a rough night, but I will definitely watch the entire show. Yeah, you're going to want to definitely watch about your sweet dude. He's got a beautiful coat, but we all can level up a little bit more. I'm so glad that you reached out. I cannot wait to introduce this to Opus.
Perfect.
I think that's going to be the big change. So I will document, by the way, also though the itchiness that Tessa has. So we're not going to put her back on Apoquil, which is what she was on. We're going to see if this will help by itself, because I want to pull everything out so I can come back and say this is the thing that helps.
You just need to do what you feel is best and go from there and then report back.
Ultimately, we want to take care of the babies, right? I wasn't blessed with regular children, so these are my children. And I'm like, let me do everything good for them.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So at the end of every show, we do a devotional. I'm going to let you choose. We do 100 Days to Freedom books or 100 Days of Healing. So we have 100 Days to Freedom from overeating, from depression, shame, anger, or 100 Days of Healing.
How about 100 Days of Healing?
That's the one I'm feeling. Yes. All right. That's what we'll wrap up with, and we'll let you know what's up on tap tomorrow.
I was just on the Real Monica Adams show, and it was really a good experience for me. When I walked in, the building is just peaceful. The environment is beautiful here. Monica really made me feel welcome.
The Monica Adams show allows people to be themselves. It's really important to share kindness, to be real, to offer stories and things that will give people hope and a reason to smile.
Rather than waking up aggravated, disappointed, and wondering, where's this earth going, choose to wake up with something that'll put your mind and your heart in the right direction. Start with Monica.
Two great shows today, by the way, one on dementia and one on our furry animals. So be sure to, even if you have to watch in 10, 15-minute increments, be sure to watch the whole show. Very, very powerful. So Kari picked 100 Days of Healing, our daily devotional from Stephen Arterburn. This one is day 23. We're already on 23 days of this. Waiting for healing. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Psalm 27, verse 14. When God doesn't answer your prayers for healing right away, how do you react? You're mad at him, right? What do you think? What do you feel? Be honest. Be honest. Many of us feel hurt and angry or confused. After all, healing is a good thing. Why wouldn't God want us to experience it as soon as possible? We then look around at others he has healed and wonder, is he unhappy with us? And often we become unhappy with him. After all, none of us really likes to wait. We have instant rice, instant pots, almost instant Amazon deliveries. Thanks to our ever-present smartphones, we can look up any information we need in a split second. None of those things make it easier for us to have what? Patience. What's an impatient behavior to do? First, since forbearance, often translated as patience, is a fruit of the Spirit, that's Galatians 5, we must ask God to cultivate it within us and ask him how we can come alongside him in that regard. We also need to take note of the times and places in which we feel impatient, then ask ourselves, why do we feel that way? Are we seeking to control something that we can't? Are we letting our flesh take over instead of walking in the Spirit? Finally, we can be aware of the small ways God is working so that we don't focus only on the big answers. C.H. Spurgeon said, we shall not grow weary of waiting upon God if we remember how long and how graciously he once waited for us. Today's prayer, Father, forgive me for being impatient with your timing and your ways. I want to be more like you. Please show me the ways in which I can help you cultivate the fruit of the Spirit within me. Thank you for the ways you're already answering my prayers. Ooh, patience. We talked about it earlier. Patience is a thing you definitely need. Patience in dementia, patience in what's wrong with my dog? Why can't I fix it like that, right? So thank you again to Linda Hagler-Reid from Garden View Care Center's O'Fallon. Thank you as well to Kari Montgomery Montgomery from Canine Innovations. And more importantly, thank you to each and every one of you and our incredible sponsors, because we couldn't do this show without you. One of the big ones is Exist Stretch, who will be in with us tomorrow on a Wellness Wednesday. Can't wait to visit with Trisha Rhodes, and she's going to be mad at me because my back flared up. That means I got to get back into her. So 2 times isn't enough. Consistency. Kari just said consistency, right? We can't just say, okay, I've taken the pills for 30 days, the dog's fixed. And then all of a sudden it comes back. Got to take care of them on so many levels. So on a Wellness Wednesday, be sure to tune in at 7 a.m. and we'll get your body working properly. From now till then, remember to do the one thing that we ask you, and that is to spread kindness. Be kind, and God bless.
The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Exist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute